The Star Wars cinematic universe is finally expanding with films like Rogue One and the upcoming Han Solo movie. As development continues, filmmakers should look to the large Star Wars video game library for some film ideas. A variety of games offer great ideas for full movie plots and stories we would love to see on the big screen. Before you watch, click subscribe. You'll join our notification squad and be the first to know of new content. Now, enjoy seeing all 7 games that should be adapted into movies. Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. Star Wars Rogue One takes place between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, and there's a lot more story to tell during this time period. One of these stories was used in the video game Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. The game explores Darth Vader's rise to power and a young apprentice he trains by the name of Starkiller. The deep storytelling and depth of the Jedi legend were huge highlights in The Force Unleashed. Even though it may not be the best Star Wars game, the story in The Force Unleashed would make for an incredible film. The rise of Starkiller begins with his Jedi parents are killed at the hands of Darth Vader. Instead of killing off Starkiller, he's raised and trained by Vader to become an assassin. Starkiller's use of the Force is unlike anything seen in the movies. It's like the Force on steroids, and it'd be incredible to see in the films. Stormtroopers would get tossed around, Force lightning could strike down at any time, and limbs would be cut off in an instant thanks to Starkiller's lightsaber skills. His battles with other Jedi offer unique components other than just the use of lightsabers. The game features a lot of great plot twists and appearances by classic Star Wars characters, which make it an appealing option for movie fans. As long as filmmakers ignore the sequel to The Force Unleashed and focus on the original, they could have a big hit on their hands. Star Wars 1313. Disney's acquisition of the Star Wars franchise came with a lot of positives. We have a whole new trilogy of films, an animated series, and a lot of future projects to look forward to. Unfortunately, the video game department took a big hit during the transfer process. Multiple games were canceled before they could be completed or released. This included the highly anticipated game Star Wars 1313. Not only would the game have been one of the more darker and gritty titles, but it could have made for an incredible and unique movie. The title, Star Wars 1313, refers to level 1313 on the planet Coruscant. It's where the group of bounty hunters ascend on the city to complete a mission. Initially, the game was to feature a new bounty hunter character, but he was replaced with Boba Fett during development. Star Wars 1313 would have been the perfect film to showcase an original Boba Fett story. His jetpack, blaster, and straight-up demeanor would make for an awesome main character. The gritty world of 1313 could be filled with a lot of surprises, twists, and mysteries for players to solve. The concept art released for the game resembles highly detailed movie storyboards and would give filmmakers a great starting point for the movie. The plot for Star Wars 1313 would feature a great mix of the Bourne Identity, Blade Runner, and Chinatown. Boba Fett has been a fan favorite who hasn't been explored enough in the movies. This standalone film could provide a unique departure from the beaten path that showcases the true life of a bounty hunter. Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic. One of the more ambitious Star Wars games was Knights of the Old Republic. Throwing everything you knew about Star Wars out the window, the open-world RPG focused on the Star Wars universe 4,000 years before the original trilogy took place. This gave the game developers ample opportunity to create new characters and stories without the limitations of the current canon. An official Knights of the Old Republic movie could go multiple ways, but one thing it must include is the evil lord known as Darth Malak. The red suit, half mask, and intense look could make him the most frightening villain to be portrayed in the Star Wars universe. The story in Knights of the Old Republic follows the character of Revan, a former Sith Lord who has his memory wiped clean and must relearn the ways of the Force as he places together his journey. Revan was initially a person following the dark side with Darth Malak, and the journey along the way showcases Revan's ability to find hope in the light side of the Force. Because the story is set so far in the past, it would feel more like an original story than a prequel. It would also be fun to see a more uncivilized version of the Star Wars universe. Droids wouldn't be as advanced, technology wouldn't be nearly as good, and we could witness the development of things used in future films. Knights of the Old Republic also features a huge cast of supporting characters who could really elevate the film. This includes Bastila Shan, a Jedi with unique skills who is one of the more popular characters in the story. Knights of the Old Republic could also set up a whole new trilogy featuring the saga of Darth Malak, Revan, and some of the other Jedi. Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. The Star Wars Jedi Knight series of games puts players in control of a Jedi as they go on missions, learn advanced lightsaber skills, and use the Force to defeat enemies in a better effort to help the galaxy. The third release in the series is Jedi Academy. In the game, players create their own Jedi and go through the rigorous training process to hone their skills. The plot and use of the Jedi Academy is a great way to expand the Star Wars cinematic universe with an original story set either during the prequel trilogy or the original trilogy of the films. A Jedi Academy movie could feature a group of teenage Jedi looking to train and make their way through the ranks. Placed in some type of survival simulator, the movie could have shades of The Hunger Games or The Maze Runner. It's an ideal survival of the fittest story with some lightsabers tossed in. The film could shed some light on all the training a Jedi must go through and the temptation to join the dark side. A brief glimpse of Jedi training was showcased in Star Wars Episode II, Attack of the Clones, and could be greatly expanded on. It would be a great movie to add in cameo appearances from characters like Yoda or Mace Windu. As the Jedi go through the Academy, they could be confronted by a bigger threat, which will force them to use their training and skills in a real situation. The game features the infiltration of the Academy from the evil disciples of Ragnos, and could serve as the main plot element for the movie. The film could be filled with twists, betrayals, and some incredible lightsaber fights. Star Wars: The Old Republic – Rise of the HUTT Cartel. Even though Jabba the Hutt was a huge role in the original Star Wars trilogy, not enough of the Hutts have been used throughout the other Star Wars movies. It's finally time to showcase the Hutt family on the big screen, and an expansion pack for the Old Republic game offers a great idea for a film adaptation. The Rise of the HUTT Cartel is an expansion pack which focuses on several Hutt characters trying to take over the galaxy. One of the more unique parts of the Old Republic is the way the Hutts were used for fighting in battles. They weren't just showcased as large masses of slithering fat who moved around like slugs. Upgrades and character designs presented them as actual threats. This includes the boss battle known as Karaga the Unyielding. Karaga is a massive Hutt who has installed his body into a giant mechanical robot with lasers, multiple arms, and the ability to kill quickly. How cool would that look on the big screen? The main villain in the Rise of the HUTT Cartel movie would be Toboro, a crime lord who has replaced one of his arms with a mechanical claw. Film technology is definitely at a great point where a bunch of Hutt characters would look incredible on the big screen. We could see a true rise as a Jedi who must try to take down the crime family before they take over multiple planets and enslave everyone. Not only would the story be great, but Leia's slave suit could make a cameo appearance and be used on other characters. Knights of the Force – Darth Maul Sun Missions. The Star Wars prequel trilogy is not the most beloved set of films in the series, but there are some highlights to enjoy throughout them all. When it comes to the Phantom Menace, one of the best characters we get introduced to is Darth Maul. Unfortunately, Maul has very little screen time and viewers don't really get to know his backstory enough. This is where video games come in. Knights of the Force is a custom mod players created for the Jedi Knight Jedi Academy game. Once the mod is installed, players can unlock the Darth Maul Sun Missions. These levels focus on Darth Maul's time as a member of the Shadow Collective and his involvement with the Black Sun Syndicate. The setting and story would serve as the perfect solo film Maul deserves. We could learn his dark history, how he got his tattoos, and the training he went through to become the Sith Lord he appears as in the Phantom Menace. One of the best parts of the Darth Maul Sun missions is the use of his double-sided lightsaber. The game really takes advantage of it as he easily swipes through stormtroopers, throws his blade, and mixes in a little of the Force to take down enemies. So much could be done with the fight scenes to really make Maul the true dominant villain he should have been. Along with the game, there are several books and comics with plenty of content, including Maul Lockdown. When put all together, we can follow Maul's dark journey through the Star Wars universe. Star Wars Demolition. One of the silliest Star Wars games released was Star Wars Demolition. This game is basically like Twisted Metal set in the Star Wars universe and was released for the Dreamcast and PlayStation consoles in 2000. While no one has probably considered Star Wars Demolition for a film, the plot breakdown could serve as a great underdog story. In Star Wars Demolition, the plot follows the shutdown of Jabba the Hutt's pod races. Without income from pod racing, Jabba decides to start a demolition competition where racers try to destroy each other's vehicles until they're the last ones left standing. The feel of the game and competition is much more gritty than the pod racing scene in Star Wars Episode 1. A film version of this would feel like a mix between Mad Max Fury Road and Death Race. The story could follow a former pod racer now trying to make a living. Enslaved by Jabba, the only way to earn his freedom is by winning one of the deadly demolition competitions. Teaming up with a ragtag group of friends, the character can work to create a custom ride complete with armor, weapons, and other interesting gadgets. The rise of the character and intense action races could present the first ever Star Wars racing-based film. Using characters like Jabba could pique viewer interest and help create a lower-budget Star Wars film, which still provides the tone, action, and fun of the others. Maybe we could even get a newer and better adaptation of the Demolition game to be released along the movie. Well, there you have it. What game would you love to see adapted into a movie? Are there any we may have missed? Let us know in the comments section below. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to The Gamer so you can stay up to date with all our awesome videos.